Hey, hello everybody. We are here. We are here. Yes, indeed. I know. We're a few minutes late, and I gotta tell you, technology is a beautiful thing. And can I be honest with you? When you're doing this thing, it's important to check your volume, right? We went through. So if you went away and you came back, show me some mercy, right? But the truth is, Renee was on time. We were all set to go. We were going through our test, and we couldn't hear. We did all this chat stuff, and I got to tell you, they said check your volume, and it's kind of like okay, and here it is. And then listen, I checked my volume, and I still couldn't hear, right? But then I realized I had my headphones in. So I'm just sharing with you, whoever you are that wants to do this thing that we do, step into it. You don't have to be perfect, right? And man, because you guys have to hear this guest today. She is going to drop some just some real nuggets for you. So if you're here, I see a couple folks are coming back. Make sure you share and subscribe and all those things and say hello when you come on. So important that we engage, throughout these next 30 or 40 minutes and chop it up, right? And for those of you that don't know, Conversations with Geoff and why Conversations with Geoff, we, as a real estate investor, I'm known as the king of rehabs, and a lot of investors know me. And my name is Geoff Tyson. And, we do major rehabs, the ugly jobs. New investors actually gave me that name years ago because I think they did it on purpose, but they would bring us these ugly, scary homes thinking we would say no. And then we shock them saying yes, and then really shock them by finishing the project and then inviting them back. And some of them have said, man, it took me a minute to find the house because I could not believe this was it. Right. So, but more importantly, it allowed me to step into a platform of training and education, helping that new investor that wanted to do those types of jobs, or more importantly, like many of us, one that was overwhelmed with fear, clutter of all of this information, not sure where to get started, actually take action, right? And you're going to hear in the story today from our guest how she took action, with uncertain information and took action. So we really now want to expose ourselves to a broader audience, that audience that, now may be looking at leaving their job, they've had enough of all the uncertainties around their employment. The COVID shuffle, I like to say, has created some different desires for people, and they're ready to do something different, right? And I've been asked to speak in that space because I too was in corporate America, man, a long time ago, and I liked it, right? But I heard there was always a voice that said, man, you can do more. And truthfully, I stayed because I was comfortable, because I had a good lifestyle, but I was really kind of scared, not certain that I could do it. I don't know if that's you or not, or, some of the noise from my past. Hey man, you ought to be grateful you got a college degree and you got a good job, stay in that job. I was from that mentality, right? The world's changing. We have to be careful that we're not preparing ourselves and our children for a world that really may no longer exist the way we see it. So anyhow, I just want to share those few thoughts, and we're about inspiring, encouraging, and more importantly, challenging you to stay engaged. Don't give up. Don't put down the mic. Stay in place with what you're after, right? And if that's you in the corporate space, or if you started your own business and you feel like you have a job and you're wondering what the heck am I doing, then stay tuned for us. All right, because it's not just motivation, it's not just inspiration that we're going to talk to you about, but transformation, taking action, taking the necessary steps. Because I think they say faith or hope without works is lost. You got to take the action. Hey, Donna Wu, nice to see you. Hey, Steph, thanks for saying hi. Appreciate you showing up, Donna. So anyhow, with no further ado, let me just give you a quick background on our guest speaker, because we're already behind. But she's a ex-corporate strategy administrator, organizational. She was responsible for billions of dollars, and acquisitions, joint ventures, sales transactions for corporate projects. She took that experience and leveraged it into becoming a real estate investor, a real estate agent. She's going to talk about all of that in her journey. But I want to tell you one thing. Sit down. Again, you got one more moment to tell your friends, tell your mama, tell your daddy, tell your brother, bring them on in here because you're going to want to hear from this young lady. With no further ado, I'm going to invite and say hello to Renee Williams. Let's all say, hey, Renee, what's up?
Hey, Geoff, how are you?
Doing well, doing well.
Good. It is so good to be with you. I am so excited to talk to your audience today.
We're excited to hear you, and thank you for your graces. I told them about my bonehead errors getting started here.
Hey, I'm a podcaster. I have been there, bruh. I've been there. I understand. That's why no problem at all.
Awesome. We appreciate that. So, hey, you know what? There's so much to talk about with you today.
Yeah.
And I know you're loaded for some stuff. So maybe you just kind of, I mentioned your corporate life, and I know you're in real estate now. But tell me a little bit about that real grind in that corporate space, and what made you finally say, I got enough and move on. Talk about that, maybe.
Yeah. So I started when and let's go way back to 2000 2002 when my daughter was born. So my husband and I were trying to figure out, what is it that we're going to do? Since we have kids, and I was trying to decide if I was going to stay home. We both had full-time W-2 jobs at that time. And so I decided, you know what, for the next couple of years, I'm going to stay home. So I got a license as a loan officer, Geoff, and I did a lot of subprime lending. I worked for someone here in Houston who owned a house that did it all. When I say a house, he owned a business that did it all. So he owned an old home investors franchise that used to, they would do acquisition of the properties. They would then flip the properties. Then they would sell the properties. And then we would do the loans on the backside. Gotcha. So the person that I got to know here in Houston, he's still around today, was sort of doing it all. And so I was working for him for about 4 years. Then the bottom fell out when everything fell apart in subprime lending and everybody went into a recession. My kids were just hitting, my youngest child was just going to kindergarten. And my husband said, you know what, boo, might be time to get a real job again. Go back to getting a real job. So I had that little taste of real estate investing just for that short window of 4 years, where I really more saw myself as an employee of someone else who was doing real estate investing. I didn't really see myself doing it. But when I went back to my corporate job after having a taste of having real estate investing, I climbed the ladder. I did what I needed to do in corporate. As you said, I worked in oil and gas. I was involved in several transactions that were multi-billion-dollar transactions. I was on the support side. I was by no means an executive, but I am degreed, and I did do a whole lot with business development in oil and gas. But I'm saying all that to say I was part of all these huge, giant deals, but they weren't mine.
Right. Yes.
I was helping someone else organize their acquisition of another company or another pipeline or whatever it was that they were doing. And I did what I needed to do, during those years. I spent about 12 years in corporate at that level doing those business development projects. And after about 12 years, during that time, I did get a real estate license. My husband and I picked up a couple of investment properties just because we had a taste of real estate investment. Yes. So we thought, you know what, let's just get a few rental properties. So over those years, we bought about 10 homes. During that time, we self-managed, but we were still just kind of mom and popping it, if that makes sense, just kind of.
Oh, yeah.
But, we felt like we were doing a little something for our future, but I was really grinding hard in corporate, just trying to climb the corporate ladder. And after about 12 years of doing that, I decided to follow my passion, which was real estate investing. And with these 10 properties that we had acquired over the years, we'd made some decent money, but that was a glimmer. That was like, I can see the light of what was possible.
Got a little taste of it.
Yeah. And so, in December 2018, we got into our first real estate syndication, which was 108 doors, and I quit my job then. So,
yeah. I got to ask you something as I'm listening to you. I want to just take you back for just a second. I like doing that, by the way.
Yeah.
We want to hear how it was, when you were in corporate America and you were seeing all these things. I know for me, I mentioned a lot. It was kind of like, oh man, I wasn't sure I could really do something else. I had a little bit of self-doubt and any of that stuff. Is any of that, if you feel compelled to share, part of your story that you?
Yeah. So let's talk about, for those of us who have a significant other, who is not necessarily on board with real estate investing. Let's go there, because that was my husband. Very analytical. True. We both came from blue collar families, who had very good W-2 jobs. His dad kept his job for 30 years, retired from the same company. His mom, very similar. My parents, very similar type situation. None of them have college degrees. And so what we understood was you work, you save, you retire. And then after that, then you make a decision about what you want to do with your investments once you're 65. Like after you are Social Security age and you've saved, So my husband was like there, like he's very, very traditional, younger than me, but very traditional.
Oh,
so I had to drag him into real estate investing. I always loved it. It was a no-brainer for me.
Yeah.
So it depends on the personality, I think, of who you are, whether or not you're afraid to take the step from corporate. If that's the case, then like I said, we started with just dipping our toe in one property at a time, and just doing that while we had our corporate jobs. And at that point, really not thinking about leaving corporate jobs. Really, at least he was. My husband was like, "We're never gonna quit we ain't never quitting our jobs ever." That's not
me.
Yeah, so we're gonna do this. We'll buy a couple of houses here and there,
right.
But no, we're not quitting our jobs.
So how did you balance? I mean, let's just keep it real. I mean, you have one desire, he has another. There's got to be some tension in that.
Yes.
And some chitter chatter. How'd you guys balance that?
So lots of sweet talking from me.
Oh, see there, that ain't right.
Well, you can sweet talk so much till the toilet breaks, and he's like, that sweet talk ain't working. We got to do something. So so what we did was we joined a mentorship group. And I think that really helped us. Being in that group of people with like-minded others. They had a radio show I listened to faithfully. The ones I thought that were applicable that he would enjoy, I would send those to him, to listen to. And so we pretty much, being a part of that organization, going to the monthly meetups, seeing other people who were doing it. And then they would do what's called a case study night once a month for free. We would go to those case study nights, even if we didn't go every month. I would get my husband to go several times a year. We would go. And then they had one annual conference that's pretty big here in Houston for real estate investors. So I kept him involved that way. And when he could see other men, other people who were doing it, who were maybe even less accomplished than us, but they were doing things. And I'm like, baby, look, if they can do it, if that guy right there is buying houses, we can do it. We need let's pick up another one. Let's get one more. Let's get one more.
Yeah, that's so important. Getting them around, see the bigger picture than just you. And that group you're talking about is a really successful group here in Houston. So for those of you listening, I mean, that's a real good nugget. If you can get your questionable partner in the space that you're in, and then let the space do the work. Right.
And I really feel like being a part of an organization like that, even if you pay for the lower level membership, and I would suggest if you're in corporate that you get the lower level membership, attend the free events, attend those lower level membership events. You don't have to jump into the really expensive thing right off. Even if they pitch you and they're trying to sell you that, go to the free events, go to the bottom level events that they have that may be a couple $100s a year. Spend some time, in the presence of those who are actually doing it. And I'm telling you, it will rub off. And it may take a couple of years, 2 or 3 years of just going to stuff before you actually have the courage to do something. But it makes a difference being in a room with like-minded people. It just really does.
Yeah, and you're centering that. And that doesn't necessarily have to be real estate. I mean, there's other folks in corporate America now that may not be real estate. So the advice you shared, would you feel like that applies? And there's other ways that they can get involved, other groups that not be related to real estate that they can follow that suggestion. So that's good stuff.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's how you get learning. You don't realize that things happen almost in a way, and I hear this spoken about all the time. It's called reticular activators. I know it's a fancy word.
Yes.
But a reticular activator is when you see something like it. Let's say you buy a red Ford Mustang.
Mm-hmm.
Once you buy a red Ford Mustang, you just start noticing them everywhere. You just see them all the time where you never noticed before.
Yes.
But now that part of your brain has been activated.
Mm.
And so that's what happens when you start participating in things that are related to real estate investing. You go to your corporate job every day, you come home and spend time with your family, or you go to a soccer game, or whatever you're doing with your kids or your spouse. And then you hear something, or you see a property, or you drive past a dilapidated house that you never would have noticed
Never
before.
noticed. Never noticed.
Or you'll hear a conversation, like real estate conversations just in the background. You never noticed those before. But you will just start to notice things and then use that, Geoff. I always feel like, okay, if that part of my brain is activated, then let me feed that with podcasts, with Tyson's, transcend. We want to put more in.
Yes.
Of what we're already kind of seeking anyway.
Yeah, I have to get my wife on here sometime and tell you about that whole thing, because I believe in that. I've always practiced that in my business. So, we'd be at Starbucks having coffee and somebody'd be on the other end of Starbucks, and I would either see them bring in blueprints, or, I'd sit back because I just, I heard real estate, and, I'm kind of like, hey, how are you? And my wife is like,
oh God,
not again. Stop. Pulling me back.
Yes, absolutely. Right.
So she's on here now. She's saying so true. I love my wife.
Yeah. Hey, Stacy.
Oh boy.
Yes, but that's how it works. And so I would just encourage those of you who feel like you're not brave enough, or you're not ready enough, or you're just getting started and you still have the fear. Feel the fear and do it anyway.
Yeah. That's your motto, by the way. Feel the fear and do it anyway. I love that.
Yeah.
But you said something else too on that, and may I share?
Yes.
You shared, put my goals, dreams, and desires ahead of everyone else, or lose myself if I don't.
Yeah.
Talk to me about that.
Sure. Yeah, that's the woman in me speaking. So you and I, Geoff, we had a conversation when we first met after our first Woodlands meetup that we attended. Yep. We had a phone call about a property. Yep. And you and I kind of talked a little bit then about kind of where I am in my journey. So I am 49 years old. I just made 49, and I'm literally 12 months from 50. And so I've approached a time in my life where I am really not wanting to put myself on the back burner anymore. So my desire, or I feel like my purpose, has been calling me for a long time, but I had to prioritize raising children. I always prioritize being a wife. I always prioritize what my family needed, to the, I don't want to say the detriment, but just caused me to put me on the back burner.
Yeah.
And so I've arrived at a time in my life now. I'm almost an empty nester. Our son is a senior in high school. Last one out. Yeah, this is our senior year. Yeah. My husband is doing very, very well in his job and looking at promotions and moving up. And so he's doing what he wants to do. He's got his degrees. And so it's my time. Yes. It's my time. And I think that women, for those of us who are, again, a certain age, we get to a point in our lives where we feel like we've given everything to everyone else, and we're just not even sure necessarily who we are or what we want. And I've discovered that I love real estate. Yes. I absolutely love it. And because I love it, then I seek to share my love of it and my passion with other women who are similar, who are looking for an opportunity to build generational wealth, to improve themselves, to use all the skills and abilities. Man, women, we are organizers, we are supporters, we are nurturers, we are time managers, we are, money budget managers. We do all these things in our corporate jobs or in our homes.
Yes.
And they all apply to real estate. I mean, we could be queens and build real estate empires if we only knew.
Yes.
So I just feel like that's my calling
Mm.
is to help other women who are similar, who are like me to get to this place.
Yeah, and that's why I was so excited to have you on here. Ladies, if you hear this, if you're here now, drop some love in the chat. Fellas, listen up too. Don't be a blockhead. I mean, the message applies, okay? She's sharing what she's sharing, we all can use. But man, and you know, since COVID, tell me if I'm wrong, but there's been more businesses started than ever before.
Yeah.
And the majority of those have been female businesses.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So what's so wonderful about COVID is that it has given us an opportunity. If you look for the blessing, you'll find it.
Yes.
COVID has given us the opportunity to see ourselves completely differently. During 2020, you trapped in the house for months. So any project you wanted I wanted to start a podcast. I finally did it because I was at home. I mean, what else am I, what am I doing? Nothing, so start a podcast, self-improvement, look up, you can learn anything on YouTube now.
Yes.
And so we really don't have an excuse. And I want to talk to the ladies in particular. And I always choose my words wisely. I know this group of women, girls, if it was just us, I would talk a little different, but we got Geoff here. So since Geoff is here, then I'm a candy coated a little bit.
Hey, don't do that. Lay it out. That's why I invited you. I'll be all right. I got a powerful woman at home, so I get it. I respect y'all.
Yes. So ladies, where I am with us as women is that our financial literacy needs to be stepped up a little bit. We need to know what's available to us so that we can build from where we are. We have all the tools, we just don't have the knowledge. So since we don't have the knowledge, then we feel stuck. We're not stuck, but we feel stuck. So we've created these, golden handcuffs for ourselves where we're locked into these situations where we've raised our family and they've gotten to be a certain age, or we're getting there. We have kids who are in high school now, but we still washing their clothes. They still don't wash dishes. We still doing all of these things for children who should be able to do these things for themselves.
Oh, say that again. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. So I had my son yesterday was telling me something about we don't ever have any food around here. And I stood there with him. I opened the freezer and I said, okay, here's some chicken, here's some steaks, here's some fish, here's some shrimp. Okay, there's food here. You have to take it. He's 17. He knows how to cook well enough. I mean, he's not going to, cater for 10, but he can feed himself.
Yes.
So there's food here. Mom has to learn how to allow those who are in her life who have depended on mom, that's me, for everything, to learn how to do for themselves, so that mom is then free to go and figure out who she is and what she wants to build in the girl in the woman that she wants to become. But it's up to me to do that. So if it is to be, it is up to me.
Yes.
So it's between me and God, and there's no stopping us. We've done what we needed to do, ladies. You are a great mother. You're a great spouse. If you don't have kids, you're a great auntie. You loving on, everybody and doing everything for everyone else, even in your corporate job. We are great employees. Yes. We show up. We are dependable. We do everything that needs to be done. And then we go home and spend time watching Basketball Wives or Dancing with the Stars. And we're not doing anything to improve ourselves. And we have this emptiness. And so I just want to, that's me. That's, the voice of one shouting in the wilderness to other women saying, you have purpose. There is more. You can be financially independent. Yes. There is financial freedom. There is generational wealth. You have the tools. You just need the knowledge.
May I speak to your audience and say to them, and fellas out there, that we better get better at what we're supposed to do, me included. And ladies, there comes a point in time that if the fella ain't where he's supposed to be to do what he's supposed to do, and, then I'll challenge you to stand up and follow what Renee is saying, because sometimes you know, that whole mentality around, you know, serving him and being a superwoman wife, you know, is, you know, my mom was a superwoman, but she was also a woman of her own destiny. So I saw it. So I really love the idea of what we're talking about. I really love the idea, ladies, that you know that you deserve the man you think you want to have, right? And they should embrace your goals and aspirations the same. If they don't encourage, they don't embrace, then I'm just saying from my side of the table, then move on and find somebody that does, or stay by yourself. You know, so that's another subject. I don't know how we got on that.
Wow, you went there. I went there. I wasn't gonna go there.
I did that for you because I know you wanted to, so I'm the one.
I was not gonna go there. I've been married for 21 years. I can't trade this joker in if I wanted to. But I will say I've had to adjust him, you know, because he grew up with a mother who dotes on her husband. You know, she's still, you know, bringing plates and fixing food. And I love my mother because that's her thing. She loves that.
Yes.
That's her. But that's what my husband grew up with.
Yes.
And ladies, if that's what you love, if you love taking care of your family and taking care of your kids, to be honest, I don't think you would be listening to this podcast or to this live right now. If you weren't seeking for something more.
Yes.
But if that is your love, if that's your heart, be there for your family and take care of your family and encourage your spouse or your children or someone else in your life to do great things by you supporting them at home. Yes. I love women who want to be at home, who want to support their family. But that's not all of us.
Yes.
For those of us who desire to do other things outside of the home, not just in a corporate arena, but then to have impact on communities or have impact on our cities or the world, then we're going to have to get outside of our corporate jobs and outside of our home to be able to have that impact.
Right. And just to continue the conversation, and fellas and ladies, you know, I mean, it's my wife and I were watching this show. I'm a storyteller. We were watching this show, right? And it was old fashioned, and it's all about, you know, the wife wanted to do something, and the husband said, "No, I think, you know, I got it now. You can quit the job," and all that old stuff, right? And you know, I'm thinking, man, you know, that's not how I saw it at home. My pop stepped in, he did whatever was necessary, right? I mean, him and Moms was doing it for 44 years before she passed. So I know that we have a responsibility to support that and step in. It's not your role and my role, it's our role. You know, and so from a male perspective, ladies, we are out there. We do understand that. And like she just said, and it was magic, Renee, you said you have to reset him. We can be reset.
Yeah. Yeah, we worked on that for a lot of years. Like I said, it's been 21 years of magic. Pure magic in my house.
Magic. I'm gonna use that word. It's the magic.
My husband and I are polar opposites, but God love him. I think that's what makes us great. Is that, you know, I help him fly and he keeps me grounded.
Yeah.
Because I need an anchor. And some of us do, you know, we are emotional spenders. We don't, you know, think beyond, you know, necessarily what's right now. And so we have a person who's in our life who's saying, you know, well, let's save some for the future. I needed that. I needed for him to provide that for me, because that's his personality. And if he didn't have those savings, we wouldn't be in the 138 units we're in now.
Yeah.
Like, because he was the saver.
Yeah.
I was the visionary, but he was the saver. So I could see where we needed to get, but I was spending money along the way to get there. He was saving money along the way to get there. So it really took both of us to be able to accomplish that. So I'm not at all suggesting that whoever your significant other is, whoever they are, there is some quality there that you can glean from to build your real estate, you know, business, or to step out into your real estate business if they're, you know, the right person for you. We're gonna set aside what Geoff said earlier about getting a new one. Right now, just the one you got. If they workable, if you can reset, you know, that their mindset, they keep going with that one. But you're just gonna have to appreciate their gifts, and so that you can move into the real estate investing career that you desire.
Yeah, yeah. And again, just a male perspective, and I love this whole piece, and people like cheering you on in the chat. And I just want to say from a male perspective that, you know, sometimes our foolish pride blocks us from really tapping into the gifts of our spouse and partner. I'm just speaking my own message here, right? And many times had I come to my wife and share with her, she would have the answer, because every time I do, she has the answer, right?
Mhm.
And it's that whole mental block and that whole craziness about, well, I got to figure it out. And she'd be the last one I'll tell, because if I mess it up, all that
You
stuff.
want her to know.
You don't want to know. And when one of my mentors said to me, he said, Geoff, you selected your wife for a reason, and there's reasons that when you need her, you tend to maybe not go to her. Those are the times that the greatest gifts that you can get from her.
Yeah.
So fellas, I'm saying, it's our responsibility to humble ourselves, and it's not easy, but I'm working on it.
Good.
Yeah. So.
All right, Stacey, he's a keeper. You keep
Oh man, this has been great. So hey, I do want you to just take a second and thank you for being you. I mean, I knew it was gonna be just where it was, and you talked about real estate investing. You talked about why and the leverage. But what are a couple of nuggets that I circled in your information? Being Superwoman.
Yeah.
Challenges and fears, and you talked a little bit about that. But is there anything left in that space that you'd like to share before we start winding it down?
Yeah, sure. So as far as being Superwoman, I just want to say to the ladies who are listening, you don't need anybody's permission to do whatever it is that is in your heart to do. Give yourself permission to move forward with take tiny action. If all it is for you is just trying to carve out some time between work and whatever you have at home. If you don't have kids, you got pets. If you don't have a spouse, you may have a significant other or a parent you're taking care of. Whatever is going on in your life, carve out time to take tiny action each day. And the action can be small. If you're in the Houston area, you can go to har.com, which is our local MLS, to look up properties. If you're across the United States, or I think anywhere in the world, you can go to realtor.com, realtor.com. You can look up properties that way. The reason why I suggest those is because unlike Zillow and some of the other ones, that realtor.com actually shows current active MLS listings that are listed by a realtor, not by individuals. Right. You can go to Zillow to find a different type of listing. But look up those listings, learn how to analyze properties. You analyze properties by finding out how much the other properties in that area have sold for. So if you're interested in perhaps purchasing something, think about buying a duplex, a triplex, or a fourplex. If you do any of those, you can get an FHA loan. If you don't know what that is, then reach out to Geoff and he can talk to you. But he's not a lender. But he can give you some information, just some education on what an FHA loan is. That's a government guaranteed loan. It has a very low down payment. I believe it's at 3.5% down.
Yep.
And if you have, a duplex, a triplex, or a fourplex, your tenants typically, depending on what market or what part of the country you're in, your tenants will cover the mortgage. So you're really out of pocket for virtually nothing. You just need the down payment and you need a good credit score. So I just want to encourage you that there are tiny steps that you can take. Geoff and I are talking kind of big picture, big idea, about your purpose and, getting things done. But I want to give you some tiny actionable steps you can take today.
Yes.
No matter what your situation is, to move forward, because real estate investing is real and it's doable for any of us. If your credit is not where you need to be, find out what you need to do to get it cleaned up. Right. You can do that in 2022. Clean up your credit. Yeah. Let's start there. If that's your tiny action, let's start with, I'm gonna clean up my credit. Yeah. If your next action after cleaning up your credit is find out how you can use your 401k to invest in real estate, that's something you can actually do.
Yeah.
Any payments you receive will go back into your 401k, but that's okay. That's money for later. It's there. So this is very doable for anyone who is listening to this, who has a serious interest in investing in real estate. There is always a way. Yeah. Even if we're in a rainy day situation in our lives right now, there is hope.
Yes.
Because you too can be financially free. You just have to start.
Yeah.
Wow. And that's where we are. We just start.
Wow. Yeah, that's so powerful. You know, and I agree. I tell them all the time, there's no better time than now to get involved in real estate. And, you know, for those folks that are in the corporate world, there's no better time than now to kind of look at planning how to move and follow that purpose and your passion. Thank you so much for those few nuggets and your podcast. Have you shared that information? With the podcast? I think we have it in the chat too. You know.
Yeah. Let me share a little bit about that. So I'm doing a pivot this year. You can follow me at Wealth Build Hers. It's on Facebook. The page is Wealth Build Hers, and it's BUILDHERS. So it's for women, real estate investing for women. So the previous podcast that I had was Agent Exit. Agent Exit was for real estate agents. Wealth Build Hers is what we're launching in January, and it is for women who want to invest in real estate. And so that's the pivot that we're making starting in January. You'll see the new brand and everything rolling out. So if you just follow me on Facebook at Wealth Build Hers on Facebook, and just keep up with me there. When the podcast launches in January, then everybody will be able to listen to it then.
That'd be great. And we have it in the chat too. For those that are here now, make sure you copy it. And for those that hop on later, you know, make sure you do that. And if you need more information on how to get a hold of her, we can tie you together.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
As you can tell, she's not hiding. Her message.
Yeah, no. I'll scream it from the mountaintops. And I'm coaching women and we're working with women. And so, yes, I am absolutely available. So please feel free to reach out.
Yeah, no, that's outstanding. That's outstanding. So any parting words? We got another minute or so. Any parting words you want to leave the audience with before we wrap it up here?
No, I think the biggest thing for me was just you got this.
Yeah.
You can do it. You can do it. Even if you don't have the finances to do it. There's a way to do it without the finances. There's a way. Call Geoff, call me, reach out to me. We will tell you how to do it without the money. You have to have integrity. And there are some things that you will need, but money is not your issue. So please, let's not make any excuses. It's available to you.
Yeah. Beautiful. So may I applaud you and send you a virtual hug from
Thank you.
The side of Houston and wishing you a happy holiday season, you know, and just, you know, show us some love in the chat, guys. I mean, stay in touch with her and we'll make sure we connect her. And I'd like you to think about, since we're here, maybe putting some things together training wise that you can come and we can share that speaks to a broader audience too. So, I mean, I'd love to put that little button here for 2020.
I'm absolutely available. And I wanted to say thank you to Stephen, to your team, to Stacy and to, I think it's Stephanie. Is that her name?
That's Stephanie, yes.
Stephanie, yes. Thank you so much. And to you, Geoff, for having me on. You all have been phenomenal to work with and I really appreciate it.
Well, that's powerful because without them, you know, everything's about them for real, you know, and so thank you for passing that on to them. Just an awesome message today, Renee, and look forward to many more to come in the future.
Awesome. Thank you.
You take care. Thank you very much.
All right.
Bye-bye. Oh, man. Hey, listen, I appreciate everybody for hanging in there. And, you know, we got started late again. And wow, what a message. What a message. You know, man, if you heard this later and you're here today, drop it in the chat. You know, show us some love. I appreciate everybody participating. Share this message with others. You know, be bold about this. Make sure you're subscribing. Have your friends subscribe, right? Because we want to be able to bring inspiration, encouragement, and folks that are actually helping you do the transformation, right? Knowledge is one thing, but knowledge without action is just that. So anyhow, want to just say, moving in, anything that you would like more of for 2022, please drop it in the chat anyone that you have that you feel like may be a benefit to be on our stage here, please connect us so we can do that. You know, remember, you know, it's real estate, yes, but it's also about how do you exit corporate America and manage the COVID shuffle, you know, and some fears like that around, you know, what next, and more importantly, and most importantly, become part of our community. You know, my mentor says it, Coach Donald, I appreciate you for real, and Steph and all Michelle and folks that I can tell have been here. Thank you for supporting us as always. And Stacy, of course, my wife. Amazing time today. And remember, there's no better time for you to make a decision to change your world and step into whatever it is. If it's real estate, you know, if it's, you know, serving in another capacity, do it now. Find the communities. We are a community of progress. You know, I can be reached at Transcending Companies, Transcending Lives for New Real Estate Investors. That's a private Facebook group that we do a lot of training, free training in, and community of progress in that space. You know, and mastermind.com for those that are looking to invest in some educational systems that we have. And lastly, I want to say that, you know, drop me a note. Hey, Geoff, I was here. I'm looking for some coaching calls, and I'm going to extend that offer into January. For those of you that are looking to have an introductory coaching call and then another follow-up call from that, you know, hook me up and let me know if that's something I can help you with. And stay tuned. We've got a after Christmas special, between the year end and after Christmas special on a couple of our programs. So anyway, appreciate everybody showing up. Hope you had a great message today, and don't let technology or any other reason keep you from doing what it is you're supposed to do. Step into your fear, step into your greatness, continue to show up. We appreciate everybody. Happy holiday season and Merry Christmas. We'll see you next year. Bye-bye.